Hey guys, still there and welcome back to a Wargame Red Dragon. Today, classic good old Mudfight 10v10. What I have for you today is a flight of a couple of longbows. And these guys initially are stacked together. It's the longbow from Jack and the other longbow from Meow. So we have two longbows, lots of flying firepower. It does depend on how well these things are capable of defeating enemy anti-air, of course. Now, the replay was sent in by Napalm Sunrise over here in the Red 4. It's a really interesting game. The way that this thing is going to go down, it's going to be very interesting. Blue opens up with a longbow heading east and a longbow heading west. They have a lot of forces going left, including the very, very good at urban warfare and, well, forest warfare alike. The Merkava 2A, main gun and a grenade launcher. You got the Hummer transports, and of course, greeting them pretty much halfway is Red 4 artillery, but it all misses. Now, Meow over here with the helicopter, with the Apache, is very, very aggressive. He's pushing forward, and interestingly enough, encountering very little resistance. There was a 5 point and a 30 point, there's a Scratchhead coming in. Scratchhead gets killed off, and whatever infantry was inside there as well. Where are the Red 4 tanks? Normally you'd see 1, 2, sometimes 3 super heavies coming this way, but this time around I'm not seeing them. Unfortunately, Meow does lose his Nighthawk. Probably the the SU-27 over there had something to do with that. But not to worry, there are more points to be had. Because there is a CV roaming around, so that's another 100 points for Meow. Next up, Trickshot kills 2 transports firing 2 missiles. There's another CV dead, another 100 points. Next up, and we're almost in Red 4 territory at this point, another CV. The Apache fires again, kills a Smirch. The other Smirch is being subjected to fire from the main gun. And once again, it does a trick shot. It sends one missile off to the left at what seems to be a recoilless rifle truck. And the other one goes to the right and takes out, well, whatever was left of the Smirch. So this Apache just walked in. And in a matter of about 2 minutes, Meow has scored 905 points. And to top it all off, he has the audacity to land his Apache right next to the enemy FOB. And by doing so, he's able to refuel. Since there's nothing else out here, he can refuel, he can get a bit of missiles aboard. Especially with 2 FOBs, the resupply process should be a bit faster. So, Red 4, well, they're pretty much on the ropes. They got no spawn, they have no Charlie, no Delta, no Alpha, although there's probably 1 CV on the way back. They did just capture Delta, but, well, what good is it gonna do them if they're not able to spawn in any units? The Longbow has been relaunched, and it saw a Hind come in, number 24. Immediately decided to take off again, taking a little bit of damage from the machine gun of the Hind, and finally taking out the Hind, and once again going for a landing. So, this guy and his guts with the Apache. Really, really well done here. Unfortunately, that's the end of the Apache. I was not expecting to take the screenshot just as the Apache died. But, well, the damage has been done. It should be an easy wrap-up for Blue now. Blue has still a decent number of infantry here. We have a couple of units over on the right flank. Even a couple of Dorban, in case the enemy does at some point bring up heavy tanks. Although, seeing as Blue is ahead by 800 points, I think that's not particularly likely. So, let's see how Red is going to play this. Because right now, they pretty much have their backs up against the wall. They're down 800 points. They do have 2 sectors, Alpha and Delta, which is pretty valuable for income. And of course, they have their home sector. The FOBs are being recaptured. And it looks like somebody did try to take a couple of shots with artillery at one of these FOBs. Now what's happening over on the left? We got Sun and EM95 pushing into an OTM5, and infantry was just in time to get offloaded, but not very happy about the destruction of their vehicles, so they're panicked. In the meanwhile, quite a few Red 4 players are leaving. We've seen this guy leave, Tuniki leave, Negroberg I think also left. And, well, it's interesting to see that a couple of the guys who left have scored absolutely no points at all. Maybe they were the ones using artillery. Somebody broke their toys with a longbow, and now they've decided to just quit altogether because arty spam is no longer part of the game. I don't know, that might be it. Because there were quite a few artillery units out here that did get destroyed in that, well, that early massacre that the Apache executed. Merkava 2A, as good as they are at dealing with enemy infantry and some vehicles, an M84 is still quite a match. So one of the M84s took out the Merkava. A Hammer tries to assist, doesn't really perform as much as it should. Merkava, not quite capable of dealing immediately with M84, goes for the transport. It's just lobbing grenades over at the M84. This is the M84 base, not the M84A recon that we saw a moment ago. But it is enough to take out the Merkava. So now we have a little bit left. Messiah at, Merkava 1, Merkava 2Bs. Another 2 coming in. But there's very, very little infantry. And France over here, it's not the first time. France is calling for help. Sorry, I couldn't resist. France is calling for help, and that means that he's expecting a lot more forces to come pushing this way. The Rangers versus the Granikari, they should be able to win that. But if the Rangers then get subjected to a bit of a treatment by the M84, or by something like this, they're going to have bigger issues. There is a lot more coming this way. Infantry here. This looks like a 2-man, potentially AT or AA team. And I saw something else moving back there. So blue is not doing very well here on the left. Let's see how they're doing on the right. They did make some progress, and Charlie is more or less invaded by Buffalo with his Merkava 3B. The problem is spotting. They do have Bedouins, which can be very effective at spotting. They're pretty good, very good stealth, very good optics, not particularly quick, but they have enough line of sight to see the BRDM-2 coming. Merkava 3 lines up a shot, misses the first shot, lines up again, reloads, but the line of sight is now lost. There you go, line of sight recovered, BRDM-2 dead, but an Akula joins the party. And the Akula is gonna make very quick work of the Merkava, if the Merkava is not defended. The Merkava really has nowhere to go. If it pushes forward, it's going to get killed. If it reverses into cover, it's going to get killed. The position where it was, when for a moment there it was concealed, was actually the best position. But by moving it away, he's now exposing it to even greater risk. Because one more missile and your Merkava 3 is dead. Barkan is moving forward, trying to suppress the Akula. Hoping to get at least a hit in, to motivate the Akula to take its missiles elsewhere. Come on, you should be more than in range by now. Yeah, here comes the missile. Hits the Akula. Akula down to 3 hit points. But the Akula is not sticking around for the second missile and immediately veers back to base. Aside from the very, very heavily damaged Merkava 3, they do have a Dorban, a second Dorban team, and a packed up reconnaissance infantry here, which I think Buffalo still has to unpack. As for the rest, they have a Hios, but it's out of missiles and out of fuel. Sorry, no, it's not out of missiles. It has 1 missile left, but it is out of fuel. In a pretty exposed position, so I wouldn't be surprised if Red 4 knows exactly where that thing is, and it's just waiting for an opportunity to kill it. Aside from that, Delta is still under Red 4 control, and I don't see Blue 4 taking that back anytime soon, because they don't really have the optics. The Chumat is trying to take out a Topaz over here. I think the Topaz is long empty, so that was just a few points. And there goes the Conquerors. Merkava 2's still trying to keep the fight here. These are the Merkava 2Bs though, not the Merkava 2A, so they don't have a grenade launcher. But they do have a lot more ammo. What they don't have a lot of is fuel. I wouldn't be surprised to see that one of these tanks is going to run out of fuel pretty soon. And getting fuel to these vehicles, well, it's possible that the Villeray Logistique is going to be able to help out. But getting here, that's not going to be easy. MiG-21 comes in, drops a couple of cluster bombs exactly on the Merkava 2Bs. But fortunately, somehow, doesn't quite hit them. Sure enough, they take some damage, but not nearly as much as I think they should have. They're trying to withdraw. Fuel's going down really quick now. So now it's just waiting for one of these things to get caught out in the open. They are no, actually they're not reversing. There goes one. That was not due to a lack of fuel. That was just a straight kill shot, I think from these gentlemen over here. And there goes the second. Looks like an ATGM came in from somewhere over here. Right, so there's one Leclerc. There's exactly one operator from the Messiah At team. There's a Rangers group. And there's another surviving Rangers group from F-117. Aside from that, NTR-wise, they have nothing. So if the enemy does decide to fly in with a couple of units, then blue has a big problem. There's not too much in the sense of artillery to hunt, though. But a lot of command. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 command vehicles up for grabs. Number 9's over there. And I think number 10 might have died earlier in Alpha. Now, the Merkava 3 is still alive, but only just. It's being repaired by an Oshkosh, and looks like it's being hunted by a T-80UM, which is being commanded by Otten, and that's the same guy who was operating the Yakula earlier. Missiles fly out, Dorban LR kills the BRDM. That should deprive them of a little bit of optics. The other Dorban LR takes a shot, or is looking to line up a shot against the T-80UM. Hits. Almost a kill. And then he loses line of... Oh, sorry, no, I was looking at a different vehicle. Here's the T-80UM. And it's backing away, and does not get to make it away to the tree line. Vehicle dead. The Akula from Otten 77 is back again. This time around, hoping to finish off the Merkava 3. The Barkin still has 6 missiles. Thanks to the Oshkosh, they were able to get a few more. And let's see, the Hios is getting refueled and is almost entirely resupplied. So at least they'll be able to keep the enemy planes at bay. It's not particularly valuable against helicopters, though, at 2625 meter range. Now, the left flank. Use less. Everybody is playing on the right. I'm not sure if he means use less stuff or useless, because everybody's playing on the right. It does look like quite a few people are playing on the right, and I am also seeing a distinct lack of a Leclerc that was here a moment ago. Oh, look at that. There's another longbow. Once again from Meow. This one is a new Apache. The other one definitely got its money's worth. But this Apache has taken, there you go, the second missile and collapses to the ground. Situation report. 3,000 points for blue. 2,795 for red. Red has a lot more income as they have 4 sectors versus blue's 2 sectors. And this income is being spread out over what I think is about 10 players on blue. I haven't really been paying too close attention to that, but I think the only one I saw leave was hashtag command sire. So the other guys, well, hopefully they're communicating and coordinating. Otherwise, we're going to be seeing solo pushes everywhere, which is not going to end well. There is still a Rangers team here by Jack. I'm not sure why he's not moving those guys over to try and spot Bravo, so that maybe they can get another hit in. Andy looks to be a little pissed off. I'm not exactly sure what happened here. That looks like a dead Leclerc. But I'm not sure what he's on about. Maybe about losing the Leclerc there? I don't know. Red seems to have plans over here in Delta. They've put up a couple of puffs of smoke, and that happens to be exactly in the line of sight of the Chumat. So they definitely have a good idea of where the enemy ATGMs are. The big question is, where are they going with that smoke? Because if you're putting up a line like this, then you're hoping to block line of sight for this sector, so that anything from here could be coming in. Don't give them free points, says Eliander. I agree, but at the same time, having a CV over here deprives them of Delta. And that 4 points of income could make a serious difference. At this point, for some reason, Cubes 90 has decided to put a couple of Potnos mortars to the front line. And the Dorban LR are teaching these mortars that the front line is not really a position where they should be hanging out. Unfortunately, the Bedouins are taking the business end of another set of mortars by the looks of it, because it's not these Potnos. No, it's a bunch of mortars over here. It looks like 3 of them. And they're now engaging the Merkava. And the Dorban, if they get unlucky, they might get hit as well. Yeah. This vehicle's being spotted. So where is their reconnaissance? This CNV seems to think it's over here. There's definitely an ATGM coming from this position. Oh, narrowly broke line of sight with the CNV. And another artillery strike comes in. Potentially wounding a Dorban. Let's see. 32-20 blue, 29-90 red. Considering that red was behind by about 800 points, they have done really well for themselves, and they're only behind by 300 points. And they've reclaimed a lot of territory, including Delta. That CV has already been taken out. And I think that the unit that was trying to push forward was the Erikskora Rejekeri from Tuniki over here. It might have been his smoke, or something similar, that's now allowing the Eriks to push up. And they can kill whatever they find, whether it's infantry, vehicles, or helicopters. You can bet your ass that the VPN 120s has now been detected, so it's only waiting until the 94s are in range of the Spike MR. Spike MR is not as good. It has a range of 2450. And first off, they're taken out. Oh, the backed up Chugata. Why did you have your infantry still inside there? There's not really any excuse for that. Chumat returning missiles. Trying to get hits on the 2 Newa. Whoa, okay. Unfortunately didn't get a hit because that would have been a valuable kill. Red only behind by 100 points now. Prowler flies in. It does detect an anti-air unit and decides to kill it. It's 2 missiles only. Is that one of those North Korean things? I haven't played North Korea in such a long time that I don't exactly know what that unit should have been. I think it was either North Korea or a Chinese anti-air unit. That's my estimate. Newas have been combined, and apparently their radar's been turned off by Napalm Sunrise. That means they're not easy to hit by the Prowler. And they're turning pretty much this area into a no-fly zone. Back over on the right, the Bedouins are still there. So is the Akula. The Akula looks to be firing missiles at the Merkava. Not really too sure what's happening. Robert surrenders. That's a Blue 4 player. Now he has scored only 40 points in 18 minutes. I don't quite get. I wonder what sort of units he had. France left the game. France had the mortars. And not just that, he also had the Merkava. No, not the Merkava. He had the Leclerc. Tsananim from Eliander are now engaging the skirmish that's happening here. Specialny Yatnotki 90 and Podobranchi. Very dangerous units to have operating on your flank. These are being commanded by 4. And unfortunately for them, there's not a whole lot of artillery that these guys can be hunting, but there's plenty of CVs. Hopefully, the Hammer and, well, potentially escorting or further defensive units can keep these guys at range. This I would not do, though. I would not put Kiyoroku WIPCs over here. I would put them over there. Put your vehicles over here, especially with the grenade launchers. One there, one here, and you cover this whole crossing, this open field, where, trust me, Red 4 does not want to cross. Not if there's a grenade launcher or 2 looking at them. Looks like they're losing the right flank a little bit. It's not a complete steamroll. It's slowly pushing them back. SU-24 narrowly takes out one of the Patriots. Patriot somehow got turned off. Now is active back again. 2 missiles fly out to the SU-24 and kill it. That's 1 seaplane less to worry about. I wouldn't do this. I think it's too dangerous. We know where they are, but now your WAPCs are not anywhere near in a position to assist. Kutai 90 make very short work of the infantry in here. Might not be the last of them, though. Support your infantry with your transports, not the other way around. Now, red is still a little bit more behind than they were. 33-15 versus 34-95. I gotta say, big credit to all the Red 4 players who are still in here. Because quite a lot of them could have left. Some of them did leave. But mostly when you lose this many CVs early on and all your artillery and just have, well, an Apache just flying around completely unchallenged in your base, that would have been a lot for a lot of people to just quit. Most people would just go, nope, never mind, I'll just play another game. Either literally another game or go out to another match. Now it looks like red's also pushing over here. Napalm Sunrise on the move. Nibiski Beretti, Rovait are desperately holding the building, but just with an FN mag. And they're about to get company from Napalm Sunrise's Kartenjägeri, very, very close. A couple of units could support. The Zeldas aren't doing it, but at least the Merkava is. There's just a lot of units which are slowly descending upon the Rovait here. I would not pick this as a priority target, though. There we go, the Zelda are pushing forward. The Zelda seem to be suppressing the Kartenjägeri in the other two buildings. And these guys are shock trained versus the Rovait's regular training, so they're not as likely to panic, even under withering machine gun fire like this. Nibiski Beretti are holding their position. Oh, it looks like we got another skirmish here. Padobranchi. I'm seeing just 5 Kutai 90s and I'm not seeing any more of the WAPCs. I wonder what happened to them. But maybe the Padobranchi would know something about that. Padobranchi won't win this fight. Oh, sorry, will win this fight. The Kutai won't win this fight. So this is why I said keep your units over here. Because then Red 4 has a lot of stuff in here, which, well, is really quite trapped. It can move back. Or it can move out and get killed, or maybe it could move this way and try to do this crossing. But if you have one Roku WAPC there and another here, you can cover both ends. And you sort of have to contain. You don't have to kill them, you just have to keep them contained. It's now 35-95 versus 35-05. And Red 4 seems to be making an impressive comeback. The front line has been pushed back from, let's say, lightly into Charlie to all the way back into Foxtrot. But the big problem that they have is spotting. A Siphon is coming over, hoping to assist the Merkava 3B that they still have over here. It might be able to spot something for it. But we know that there is at least an Akula over there, and now also an Mi-24D. Which I think might be offloading a reconnaissance unit at that level of veterancy. Let's see, what happened to the Patriots? Here, the Patriots are still alive. They're limping back to base. Oh, speaking of. Oh, sorry, it's not cubes, it's cube 7. Cube 7 has infantry inside their territory. But is it dead? No, it's not, definitely not dead. And is that infantry? Because I also saw a tank. There's definitely something more in this sector. Oshkosh trying to rush back to base, but in doing so, it might come directly into contact with enemy units. There's more vehicles moving about. BTRs. There. Potentially an M84. Can't quite identify them. More Padobranchi coming in. Very dangerous position for these guys to be able to reach here. If they do, then any vehicle that comes down the road for Blue 4 is going to immediately get killed off. Oh, it's a T-72A. Misidentification. T-72A. Red 4 throws over another artillery strike. Doesn't really do that much. A last desperate attempt is being made by the riflemen to hold off. The Padobranchi, while being subjected to a bit of a barrage from the Tsefa A, or sorry, Tsefa E, they, I think, will keep coming. And now it's even the TACOM that has to do its own fighting. Spatsnaz Gru coming in. Oh, Tsefa B, right there. Rocket pods. Narrowly saving the day. Andy and Eliander working together. Siphon coming over. looking for more units which might be lurking inside this sector, as the rest of the forces from Foxtrot have been either killed or are retreating. The Merkava 3 is still alive, but is retreating. That means that this sector is just wide open to assault. And they're not actually assaulting with any major combat units. It's Skrejet and MTLBVs. And it's enough. Because all you need is a transport to start spotting an AA unit. And the AA unit will then proceed to die off. Siphon gets killed off. That's another valuable reconnaissance unit that they could very much be using. The Patriot tries to get a shot off, gets a shot off, but also its body gets nailed. The Su-24 then makes an escape. Points, 4,000 for red, 39.65 for blue. 4 minutes left on the replay, that is. My god, why would you call in a Kiyomaru-shiki at this point? This is a super heavy tank. It's a really good platform. I like the tank. Good rate of fire, 12 rounds a minute. Excellent AP, excellent accuracy. Frontal armor leaves a bit lacking. But this is absolutely not the right time to call it in, because the moment that enemy infantry gets close to it, it's gone. And we know that there's plenty of Padobranchi making the rounds. We saw Nibiski Beretti over there. VDV-90 would also be a massive threat to these guys. So why exactly he called in a Kiyomaru-shiki, I don't really know. It's not the right unit to use. Seifa B might know something more than I do, or it's just guessing, throwing a couple of rocket pod salvos this way, hoping to keep the enemy at bay for just long enough. It's not happening. Red 4 4270, blue 4 3970. Kiyomaru takes a shot, making its position even more clear, although it continues to be spotted. And then when A2 gets called in by Meow, which I don't quite understand. Why would you bring in one of those units right now? Red now has the audacity to even capture Foxtrot. And Eleander is trying to get his command infantry out of this sector, it seems. But I don't really see a plausible way to get them out of here. Let's just wrap this up, shall we? Because this is only going to ever end one way. Roveta getting murdered by Spetsnaz, and T-72B, and on my 24. What started out so incredibly well for Blue 4 turned into an absolute disaster. Red 4 early on lost CVs, artillery units, anti-air. They lost the entire flank. They thought they had it, Blue 4. And then Red 4 said, the hell you do. They started pushing back, and they won by getting up to 5,000 points versus Blue 4's 41.95. Meow, with his 1,125 points, coming in with the Apache Longbow, did a ton of damage, but just not enough. Just not enough. Very unfortunate to see it go down like this, but I hope you enjoyed the replay. Let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comments, and keep in mind, the battle is not lost until you really just quit out of the battle and go, fuck it, I'm going to play something else. Like some of these Red 4 players did. They could have been part of a winning match, but they just decided to quit out. Anyway, thank you for watching, I hope you enjoyed it, and I shall see you guys soon for more videos.